So, I want to quickly share something interesting that happened. The other day, I was out with my son, Khalil, and we went for a birthday party. I think I shared it on my story a few days ago. And just before we pulled over to the party, to the party venue, he just while I was parking, he just let out this screaming, this with the weirdest voice ever. He was just like, let's get the party started. And I was like, myself and my daughter, we just looked at each other like, did you hear what Khalid just said? And it's just really always very interesting to hear him, his voice, especially when he says the right thing at the right time. I don't know, some people cannot relate to this, but this definitely is the best part of it, because we've been for years, we started with just him learning words and not able to put the words and the actions together, and now we are at that point. But the main reason why I'm sharing this video is that the manner at which he said it was obviously echolalia. Now, I remember when back then, I was really worried about his, echolalia, constantly repeating words. You would say, how are you, Khalil? He would say, how are you, Khalil? He still does that, but it's getting better. Now, in this aspect now, I've noticed this a few times before, because he loves to watch shows on TV and all of that. So he is actually he's now using those words or those sentences that he's memorized from let's say from a cartoon or from a certain program, and then he uses it in the perfect situations. And this has happened more than once, but for the first time, this is like sometimes you just like, okay, well, let me just wait to see if it's going to happen again, and then you keep waiting. But this time around, I was like, yes, this is definitely what he's doing. So he sometimes, like there was a day, I think his sisters and I, we went out somewhere, and it was like a kind of a pond. There weren't ducks there or anything, and then he was asking for like something about ducks, and I was confused, and I was like, the sister was not like, oh, it's from a show. I don't remember the show that they feed the ducks or something like that, and he was just repeating that and continuously. There was also one day I was driving, and I was driving kind of I kind of stepped on the brake abruptly, and I just let out, watch out. And that this is not his original voice. I know that is not his original voice, because there's a difference between his original voice and when he's echolalic. That means when he's repeating something he's heard before. And for this particular one that he did yesterday too, like when he said, let's get the party started, I don't even know what show it's from. I'm guessing one of the Peppa Pig episodes or Ben and Holly. Those are the ones he's been watching. I've been trying to get him off Peppa Pig for the longest time, but now I'm beginning to see some kind of advantage of those shows that he watches. Like, okay, not all the time, but I've seen him, like I said, I've seen these experiences happen over and over, where he repeats the same thing from a scene, but he uses it in the perfect situations. I don't know if anyone can relate to what I'm saying, or if I'm making sense at all. Let me know if you have a child that also does this, because I've been looking at it like, is this just us? But it is really, really exciting to just have that feeling, knowing that yes, he definitely understands what is going on. Like you mentioned something, and then he goes ahead and there's one other one that he does, and when he puts the food in the microwave, yes, because yes, now he microwaves his food by himself, and then he just goes, and when the microwave bell goes ding, then he goes, dinner time. Oh my gosh, it's so interesting to hear him. He goes, dinner time. And sometimes also when we go out and we just come home, and and then he just goes, I'm home, and something like that. There are a lot. I think I will even start putting this down in writing and like just journal them, because now that I'm talking about it, I'm beginning to see the patterns. I'm beginning to see more and more things. But basically, and this is why the power of observation. The point is, if you have a child who is at this repetitive stage, experiencing echolalia, do not worry. I've written about echolalia before. I'm going to try to find a post to share some of the experiences I had with echolalia and my concerns and the advantages that I actually noted. So if your child is doing a lot of repetition, it's something to celebrate. As long as you're able to guide your child on how to better use those what he's repeating to communicate, it's also something. So don't be scared, don't be worried that it's too much. You just never know. That is usually the beginning of the communication, and there's definitely so much that will come out of it eventually. I hope you find this video helpful. If you'd like to have a one-on-one consultation with me at any time, just send me a message and I will gladly respond, and we can work together and I can see how I can support you and your child to be a better version of yourself. Do have a lovely evening. Bye bye.